started to try and date again, and I was on a date. The guy was like, "So wait, in the last 2 years, you've got a dog, had a toddler, and got a divorce?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is that's a bit of a year." You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you talk about your daughter when you do stand up?
I talk about her a little bit. I just never want to be negative about her in any way.
Absolutely.
I would find that really hard. She just
Can you imagine? But what's interesting? It baffles me that there are so many comics that are willing to do that. Like that, just to win over strangers for an hour. You're gonna
throw your child
you're
under the
gonna
bus.
sell your child down the river. It's sort of like whenever you see someone doing that kind of sub Louis C.K. stuff, like this one's a prick, and you're like, really? Hey, you've nicked Louis C.K.'s stuff, like just the material. But then also it just feels, at what cost? That's going to be on telly.
Yeah, imagine
God.
growing up and just going on YouTube and then finding your mum slagging you off.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a weird life, I think.
A friend of mine, and this is the perfect story for any stand-ups that have kids. He was doing a show, and his wife was looking after his son. His son would have been about 4 at the time, and it's like a 400-seater, and his dad is on stage talking about him. So this kid's walked into this gig. He's at the back of the room like a hobbit in the prancing pony with all these kind of adults. And he's like, and in his head, he's like, "Daddy," like that. And his dad's being kind of animated and everyone's laughing. And he's 4, kind of like that. And then he starts telling a story about the boy. And the boy's like, "Huh?" Like that. And then everyone is laughing at the boy because of a thing that the boy said. But the thing the boy said wasn't true. The dad was lying. And he was shouting, "No, I didn't. I didn't.
Oh
I
my
didn't."
God.
And he can't be heard because the laughter is so big. And so then the next morning, this comes to pass. The comedian finds out that his wife let the son drift into the gig. And the boy says to the comedian in a very somber voice, "It was just so unfair." And when you hear that, you're like, okay, we all have to work a bit harder. But it must feel so amazing when your child does something truly hilarious. But if it's kind of negative, there is part of you going,
Yes,
"Oh,
I
God,
know. Well, that's
did you have
it.
to eat your shit in such a funny way?" You know.
I'm sure that kid will just forget that. Like,
Yeah.
it won't.
Yeah, that won't scar them forever, and they'll always just feel like they're yelling, "That's unfair! I can't control anything!"
Can you imagine
Drowned
that?
out by laughter.
There's 400 adults laughing, and you're 4 going, "No, no."
That child is going to end up leading the Conservative Party. That's what's going to happen there.
Yeah, gosh. So she's got school is the next thing.
School is the next thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all just crazy. Yeah, she's a little lady. She's funny. She's got little bits. Like, she can really like tell when my mum says that whenever she enters a room, she kind of like starts waving. She's like, "Mabel's here." Like,
great.
she's got this
Well, she speaks about herself in the third person.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. But no, it's just the best. She just like changed my life. It raised my standards in so many ways of just like what was right. Like, I got divorced when she was like 1, because it was like, oh, this isn't right for her. Like, this isn't the environment that is the right thing for her. And so by having her, it let me kind of see what was right. And so it's crazy that I'm kind of learning from a toddler. Like, I definitely should have worked these things out on my own. But
What was that like? That must be, and you don't have to answer this, but that's a huge decision. Like, when your daughter is 1.
yeah, it's been a bit crazy. Like, I started to try and date again, and I was on a date, and then the guy was like, "So wait, in the last 2 years, you've got a dog, had a toddler, and got a divorce?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is that's a bit of a year." You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I like margaritas. But I still like to dance. So what is that like? Sort of like dating again? That must be strange.
It's so strange. It's so
Are you
strange.
on the apps?
Yeah, it took me, it's taken me a couple
Are
of
you on? Are
years.
you what's that celeb one? Are you on
On
that?
Riot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you on that?
you're not supposed to talk about it, but and I never really liked it because it's just like men with their tops off on yachts, and it's like I have nothing in common with these people, you know what I mean? Like I started a podcast with Amy Gledhill, very funny Amy, who's a good friend of mine, about dating. So that's added a kind of
Oh God.
that's added a kind of thing to the mix, but it's been really nice in that we've both
So
kind of
the potential people that you're going to date, do they have any idea?
yeah, the podcast is doing quite well, which is maybe not great for our dating life.
Because you're reminding me of a story. My brother once went on a date, and based on the conversation that he'd had with this girl, like, so he meets her, and she gets a notebook out, and my brother goes, "What's this?" And she just goes, "Oh, like when I go on dates, if anyone says anything funny or strange or weird, I just like write it down." And my brother's like, "Check, please." Like that. I'm just kind of going, "There's no way any of this," because This is like my brother's like, I'm in like white hot, like fight or flight mode. I will say anything to impress you. Put that fucking book away.
Yeah.
So the question I'm asking is, so the people you're on dates with, you know, there must be this weird part of you because obviously you want to meet somebody, but if it's terrible, it's going to be a good episode.
Well, this is it. I think it's kind of nice in that it pushes me a bit. Like when I was in Australia, I like did a little bit of dating, and I don't think it was like, no, do it, like push yourself out of your comfort zone, like do it. It's
because
like,
that's probably what you need in your life is an Australian partner.
That's just to add to the
Yeah,
chaos
exactly.
as I need. But no, it's been really nice in that we've got a buddy, and it started like kind of like a community of like people in their like 30s and 40s and in their 20s, you know, people that are just like haven't found their person yet and just kind of trying to be happy in what we haven't. The joke is often on ourselves and kind of what we expect. Like the whole first series, we really struggled to even get any dates, so that was kind of the running joke.
That's so funny.
Like,
That's so
a lot
great.
of comedy podcasts, it's like these really confident like women that are like, yeah, and then I did this with him, and me and Amy are like, I don't even know what to say on the app, you know.
That's
It's
so
so
funny.
it's
It's
I
a travel
think
podcast. Where have you been? Wow, we haven't been anywhere yet. But we're planning a lot of it. It's so great.
So I think that's
So when you
been it.
finally had a
Yeah.
date, you're like, we got it, we got one.
We got one.
So
But the
funny.
joke is it's always on us. Unless they were to do something like terrible, then we're not going to be like making fun of them or being like, oh, they wore this and it was
Yeah, yeah,
disgusting,
yeah.
you know, like it's not like that at all. It's more just about the experience of it and how like just completely discombobulating the whole thing is.
What would be a perfect date? I wouldn't know where to begin.
I know. I don't know. Well, I think the thing is, especially if you're meeting someone from an app, you just want to get in and get out. And so often it's like, I don't want to give up an evening with my daughter in order to go meet a stranger. And so
Yeah.
I'll often I mean, not often, like I'm only just doing this kind of stuff, but I'll like have a drink like before or after a gig because I think you just want to get in for an hour and just see if there's a vibe because it's very difficult on the apps to even realize what someone is like and whether you click. I must not date another stand-up. So that's very, very important. Yes,
Yeah.
very. I need to get that tattooed on my hand. That's very important.
Yeah.